Here's how this thing can help you throw harder. If you want to try on your own without some fancy drill to throw harder and you don't have a lot of tools or experience, a timer or a stopwatch or just your watch or your phone, if you've never been told this before, there is an amount of time specific to right and left-handed pitchers that will allow you to increase the chances of your catcher having the ability to throw a guy out at second. So when you're in the stretch and there's a base runner on first, if you're not within this specific time, it will greatly increase his chance of stealing on you. So it's different for a lefty as it is a righty, because as a lefty, there's a hesitancy with the base runner on first base, so you get a little bit more time and wiggle room as a lefty. We're also going to use this same time and technique and we're going to put it into your practices and your bullpens and your drill work, because it can be the reason that your mechanics clean up and why you potentially start to throw harder. The time you want to look for as a right-handed pitcher from the stretch is between 1.3 and 1.5 seconds. In that amount of time, we're starting the timer as soon as the foot lifts and then as soon as the ball touches the glove's mitt in the catcher. The time you're looking for from the stretch for a right-handed pitcher is from the moment the left foot lifts to the moment that the ball hits the catcher's mitt. You just start the timer when the foot lifts, stop the timer when it hits the catcher's mitt. That time should be between 1.3 and 1.5 seconds. For a left-handed pitcher with a base runner on, you want to be from front foot lift to ball in catcher's mitt between 1.5 and 1.7 seconds. The other time you can try to get is between 0.9 and 1.05 seconds. That time is from front foot lift to front foot land. So you start and stop between those two times. Oftentimes you'll find in drill work that guys on the mound will be at 1.5 or even 2 seconds for all their drills, for all their catch play and all their bullpens. And then they get into a game and they have to speed up and everything's faster and they're not practicing how they play. I'm sure you've heard that a million times if you've ever been an athlete, that you got to practice how you play. But if you're not within those time frames that are helping you be successful in a game, then what you're not doing is practicing how to replicate it. What you're not doing is adding load onto your arm that gets you used to throwing harder more often. If guys struggle with plateaus or they struggle with not being able to throw harder, but they're never practicing to throw harder and they're never practicing being within that time, then it's to be expected that when you go in the game, you're not throwing as hard as you possibly could or as hard as your potential is, because you're never practicing it. And one great way to practice it is to go game speed. And now you know, because we all have some type of timer in our pocket or somewhere, between 1.3 or 1.5 and between 1.5 and 1.7 for a lefty, or for 0.9 to 1.05, from front foot lift to front foot touch. What that's going to do is allow you to get more reps, and you're going to use what is called the compound effect. For the adults that are listening, you're familiar with compound interest. The more money you put into an account over the years, it gives more and more interest, and it compounds on each other. What was $1,000 becomes 10, becomes 100, becomes a million a lot faster if you keep putting the money in. If you continue putting in better reps on the mound in practice, as long as you're healthy and you're eating and sleeping and drinking enough, then that will compound over time, no pun intended, and you'll find yourself throwing harder longer in games and breaking through plateaus. If you love these quick tips or the long ones, make sure you are subscribing. So hit that subscribe button so you can get all of those healthy velo tips.